They also made a change that not many people have noticed, not many people are talking about it. They actually changed like the UI on the screen. I know, it's mental. But a lot of people just haven't realised they're not talking about it. But, okay, I'm just going to go into this and see what happens. Hiya everyone, I'm Jamie, and this is a Dead by Daylight discussion video about the new patch, the 4.5.0 mid-chapter patch of Dead by Daylight. So basically what I want to do in this video is just go down the list of most of the big changes they've made and just decide whether I think they're good or bad or somewhere in the middle. So I'm going to start with the clown, and basically what they've done with the clown is they've improved his reload speed, they've added a new bottle, and they've done add-on changes. And overall, I'm going to say that these changes are bad. Now there is one good change in here. The reload speed is a very good change. The clown desperately needed it, but he desperately needed a lot of other changes as well, just to make him good, to make him playable, to make him fun to go against and play as, and not just, you know, really good at one-on-ones, but not good at anything else. They've not changed him enough at all. He needed a complete power overhaul, a complete change of the way he plays, that his power, everything. He did not need just a new bottle that does basically nothing. I'm going to try and keep this video fairly short and concise, so we're moving on to the maps. So in this patch, they updated the graphics of the Crotus Pren maps, that's Father Campbell's Chapel and Disturbed Ward, and they also updated the graphics of the game. Now overall, I would say these map changes are average, because while they look amazing, and they really do, they look phenomenal, they are beautiful, but they just haven't done enough to change what was wrong with the maps, and in some cases they've made it worse. They have added a few breakable walls to Disturbed Ward, which makes the main building a little easier to deal with, but, you know, they could have just, you know, opened it up a bit, rather than waste the killer's time with breakable walls that they have to break to just stop infinites, essentially. And with the game, they've taken the existing problem that there were too many safe pallets, and just not enough windows, and made it worse by just sticking random god pallets in places and long structures that you just they take too long to get around. They've taken what was the problem with the game and just made it a million times worse, and I don't understand what they were thinking. Moving on to the next thing they changed survivor animations and locomotion, and overall I would say these changes are bad. I'm not quite sure why they felt the need to change the survivor animations. I get that they're trying to update the graphics of the game to, you know, get it to look good on the next gen consoles and stuff like that, but, you know, I think it looked fine. Like, the survivor animations wouldn't affect how it looks graphically, and in a lot of cases they made the animations look a lot worse, and I thought the goal was to make it better. Like, for instance, the survivor injured running animation just makes them look like they're constipated. It's not different enough to this normal survivor running animation though, from a distance. Like, it's harder to tell if survivors are injured or healthy. Well, at least I found it more difficult to tell. And that new stand-up animation, as hilarious as it is to just see a survivor go, "Come at me," it doesn't fit with the game at all. They're supposed to be scared for their lives. I mean, I know they're not, and it's stupid to think this is a horror game, but like, these people are trying to escape from a killer that wants to kill them. Because like before, they would stand there and they would look about and they would try to stay low, but now when you approach a survivor, they're just standing there like, "Come at me." It's bad. It's bad. I will say that the new animation for crawling into the hatch is a hell of a lot better, because before it made no sense that they would just like spring up and jump into the hatch, but now they kind of look like they're just slopping in. It's like, it's better, but it's still not great. And although I haven't played Survivor myself yet, I've only played Killer, I have seen a lot of Survivor players saying that the way the new Survivor like animations work, the way they look on screen, the way they feel, is kind of detriment to their play style. It's kind of made Survivor harder to play. I just thought I'd mention that. I haven't, you know, experienced it myself, but I just thought I'd put it in. I'm just going to quickly blast through the perk changes because I think they were all good. Maybe not enough, but I think they were all good. So Pebble got a buff, good. Undying got a nerf, good. Fixated got a buff, good. Iron Maiden got a buff, good. Second Wind got a buff, good. Maybe the buffs to Iron Maiden, Second Wind, and yeah, Iron Maiden and Second Wind probably weren't enough. They probably needed a bit more of a buff to actually be useful. But, you know, fair enough. Good changes. They also buffed a couple of status effects. They buffed Deep Wound, which I very much like as a Legion main. You see a few more people going down to Deep Wounds than used to. It's very nice. And also they buffed mangled, so if you get hit with a mangled status effect, you just stay mangled until you're healed. Which makes sense, I mean, why would it disappear? They also made a couple of changes to 2 other killers. They buffed Wraith, so he's not, you know, visible from a distance anymore. The survivors can't see his shimmer from a distance. And they also buffed the duration of the speed boost he gets when he comes out of cloak. So that's very nice. And they also gave Trapper a buff that there is a reduced chance to get out of his traps on the first attempt, which he desperately needed. Basically, good buffs to underpowered killers. Can't complain about those 2. They're probably not enough, but, you know, good step in the right direction. They also made a change that not many people have noticed, not many people are talking about it. They actually changed, like, the UI on the screen. I know, it's mental. But a lot of people just haven't realised they're not talking about it. But, yeah, as I'm sure you know, they completely changed the UI. The gens are now at the top. The survivor portraits are over on the left. It's a mess. It's a complete and utter disaster. To go through the list of all the things they've actually changed, they've changed the player status widgets. There's new portraits, new indicators for injured and healthy and stuff like that. They've changed the objectives to the top middle of the screen to give, I don't know, more instructions, more detailed instructions, you know, like, don't let survivors escape. Thanks for the detailed instructions. I thought I had to let them leave. Thanks. They've moved score events to the top right. They've added hook counts for individual survivors if you're on the survivor UI, and a hook count total for the killer. So just to sum it up, if you're playing killer, you have something in the top left, something in the middle top, something in the top right, something in the middle left, something in the bottom left, and something in the bottom right. That is everywhere. What? You're just constantly going like this, trying to see everything at once. It's a mess. I know a lot of people have said this, but it's the basics of UI design that you have everything in one place or 2 places, so you can just quickly move your eyes to where that is and have all the information you need. With this new change, however, they've made it so your eyes are constantly having to move over all aspects of the screen. And while that's okay on something like a mobile game, because, you know, you can see everything just by looking at the one screen, like, a lot of people play this game on TVs, on massive monitors, and it's just not good for the type of game this is. The final change they've added to the UI is that you can scale it. You can make it smaller, you can make it bigger, which is good for people who have sight impairments, stuff like that. So that's good. That's a good change. I have no problem with UI scaling. Moving on away from the UI, they added a new Rift and Tome, which is just average. That's fine, you know. That's a matter of taste, whether you think the Rift and the Tome are good or bad, like, that's a matter of taste. And as usual, they've added a load of bugs into the game. They've added hitbox issues, survivor movement issues, and there's no collision for certain structures on certain maps. The one that immediately comes to mind is the greenhouse on one of the new Crotus Pren maps, where you can just walk straight through it like it's not even there. Obviously there are more bugs, but I wanted to keep this short. But yeah, bugs are bad. Bugs are bad. You don't need me to tell you that, bugs are bad. So overall, it seems like most of the big changes, like the clown, the UI, the maps, the locomotion, all are pretty bad. There are good things in this patch, but there are all the smaller changes, like the perk changes and the changes to status effects, just stuff like that. All the big changes are bad. But I think the worst thing about it is that we told them that these were bad. They put out a PTB and they asked for player feedback, and we told them this is bad. These changes are bad. Not everyone, of course. Not everyone hates these changes. Not everyone hates New Clown. Not everyone hates the UI. Like, it is a vast majority of the player base, though. And while I do appreciate what one of the devs said, that they put out a PTB, they get the feedback, and then that gives them more time to get a hotfix ready for about a month after the patch releases. But at the same time, just don't release the patch. Why do you have to release the patch? Like, okay, you've made this roadmap for yourself, you release a patch here, a patch here, a patch here, a patch here, but if you put a patch on the PTB and everyone is like, no, this is bad, do not do this. Like, you don't have to then release that patch. You make the rules. You have made your own release schedule. Just change it. I know that sounds like oversimplifying it, and it probably is, but I don't see why, when you release a patch to the public on the PTB, and the player base are just saying, no, this is bad, why can't you just push the release back so you can actually fix it? If the PTB is to just give you more time to get out a hotfix, why don't you just delay the release of the patch until that hotfix can be made? Like, a lot of people have expressed concerns about the new UI. Like, some people have said it makes them feel sick, some people have said it gives them headaches, like other people have just said it's bad and makes the game more tricky to play and more of a pain. So, like, I don't see why they had to release it. I mean, they've said that they just, I don't know, deleted the files for the old UI, which I don't believe for a second. But, like, they've also said that they don't have enough time to change it. Like, it's too complicated to change it. They can't change it. But they did change at least something since the PTB. It used to be that injured survivors would just glow red a little bit and it was kind of hard to see them. And they've added a slash across it to show that the survivor is injured. They've made it clearer. But, like, if they can change that, why couldn't they just, I don't know, move it a bit and make it like where it was, just in the bottom corners, rather than just slopped all over the screen? I won't pretend to know about coding. I won't pretend to know, like, how to code a game or anything like this, but it can't be that complicated. It's a UI. It can't be that complicated. There's been a month since the PTB of people saying that this new UI is bad. I know I'm just like focusing in on the UI, but that is the biggest gripe that I personally have with the new patch, and I know a lot of people feel the same way. That there's been outcry for a month. They could have done something. I don't know, delayed the release, taken the UI out of the patch. I don't believe for a second that they've just lost the files for the old UI. That's not how any company works. But I know I've just stolen that line straight from Scott Jund, but that's just not how companies work. They don't just throw out stuff. I know a lot of people are complaining about this right now, complaining about this patch. It's probably like 90% of Dead by Daylight content right now, but I feel like when a company does things like this, you have to call them out on it. Like, if you don't call them out on it, they just keep doing it. I mean, I know Behaviour just keep doing crap like this anyway, even though we're constantly calling them out. But maybe someday it'll work. Maybe someday they'll actually start listening to concerns of the player base and not just stubbornly steamrolling out this utter garbage and just saying, it's like, oh, well, we put time and effort into it, so swallow it. Like, no. I'm sorry, but when something in your game is so bad that it's making people feel sick and giving people headaches, then you've got to change it. Like, even if it's just a small amount of people, you've got to change it. You've got to, surely. But anyway, I'm going to end this video here because I've been ranting for long enough and I wanted to keep this video short. But yeah, I really appreciate you for watching it. I just hope that, I hope they listen. Just listen, please. But yeah, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And I hope to see you in the next one. Stay strange.